believe in democracy is to understand that each of our citizens has wisdom and has a voice. And if we refuse to listen to that voice, even our most successful fights.
Robert De Niro does not just criticize people, he dismantles them completely. And J.D. Vance, he never had a fighting chance. One moment, he is trying to appear as a serious politician, and the next, De Niro is tearing him apart like a poorly written screenplay, with the sharp precision of a mob boss straight out of a Scorsese film. He exposes Vance's opportunistic loyalty to Trump, his desperate political reinvention, and his sudden forgetfulness about democracy. Get ready, because this Hollywood icon just turned a vice presidential hopeful into the punchline of his latest award-worthy takedown.
We're in a very bad situation. I remember you and I about 5-6 years ago talking. I'm down at the Spring Studios. Something about, I said, what just happened just happened. No, it didn't. It didn't happen. It's all about truth. And what we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane, and I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are.
So one of the takeaways is not just that the Republican Party base is somehow fundamentally flawed in a way that's unique in American political history.
Before we continue, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You will not want to miss this. Unfortunately for Vance, selective memory does not work as well as he hoped. His past condemnations of Trump, once stated with the confidence of someone who never imagined needing Mar-a-Lago's approval, are still out there, locked in interviews, old tweets, and archived video clips. No matter how much he tries to rewrite history, the evidence remains. Footage exists of him laying out, in excruciating detail, why Trump was a danger to democracy, unfit for office, and morally bankrupt. Awkward.
I think that I've learned my lesson on speaking for the president before he and I have actually talked about it.
He's so stupid. The lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron, but he's a scary one. And in all seriousness, and we know it here, deeply insecure. He is a malignant.
Now, he is engaging in rhetorical acrobatics that would earn an Olympic gold, hoping no one notices the drastic shift. The man who once called Trump a threat to the nation has vanished, replaced by someone who now claims Trump is the country's last hope. He has perfected the delivery of sycophantic soundbites, reciting them with the enthusiasm of a hostage reading a forced statement. Every interview, every tweet, every carefully rehearsed defense of Trump reeks of desperation, the kind that suggests he knows exactly how absurd he looks, but is too deep in to turn back.
Biggest problem with Trump, and there are many, many things to pick out, but my biggest problem with Trump is that his message to the right, especially the white working class of which I came from, is anti-conservative and in some ways anti-American. It's fundamentally that the deck is so stacked against you that unless I'm the president, nothing that you do will change your life's outcomes. I think it's wrong, and I think it's very self-destructive.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound.
Despite all his efforts, Vance will never earn Trump's full trust. To hardcore MAGA supporters, he is merely a convenient tool. To longtime conservatives, he is a late-stage convert. And to everyone else, he is just another politician who sacrificed his integrity for power. Robert De Niro, however, does not forget. For him, this was not just another case of a politician bending his morals. It was a full-scale Broadway production, Sellout, the J.D. Vance story. A man who once built his image on honest, working-class values had now reinvented himself into a Trump-approved, nodding bobblehead.
I've been able to deport about 37,600 people, which is not a small number, but to really get those numbers up, it would have to be about 60,000 a week to hit that 12 million mark. You run out of beds. You have like 47,000 people in detention, but you've run out of beds. What next?
Well, first of all, we do this sequentially, Laura. So what the president said on the campaign is the very first and most important thing is to secure the borders. You know, we have 20 million, maybe more illegal aliens in this country right now. We have to stop that number from growing. And by the way, in 6 weeks, we've almost accomplished complete border security. You have places that had 1,500.
And De Niro, who has spent decades exposing phonies, frauds, and con men with selective amnesia, was not about to let this one slide. Because, let's be honest, Vance did not just reconsider his views, he slammed the political reset button so hard it rewrote his entire history. His past critiques of Trump vanished. His once principled positions replaced with whatever rhetoric keeps him in Trump's favor. It is the kind of reinvention that makes you wonder if he woke up one day.
You guys are working hard every single day, and I think it's pretty good news, right? That as of a couple of months ago, you have an administration that's working with you and facilitating your hard work instead of making it harder to innovate, which is, I think, what the last administration did. Though, in defense of Joe Biden, he was asleep most of the time. I don't think he totally realized what he was doing, but certainly didn't make it easier. His administration did not.
First, do you remember Robert De Niro, the tough guy who played Raging Bull Jake LaMotta and Goodfellas wise guy Jimmy Conway, but lately has become a weeping, shrieking victim of Trump derangement syndrome?
But De Niro was not just calling out blatant hypocrisy. No, he was exposing a much bigger con. How politicians like Vance rely on the assumption that people are too distracted, too drained, or too blindly loyal to notice when they are being deceived. The idea that someone could publicly denounce Trump, write books about his dangers, then turn around and pretend they have always been a loyal support. It is almost impressive in its shamelessness. Almost. The problem? Vance is not fooling everyone. Certainly not De Niro. Because in the end, this is not just about one politician flip-flopping to stay relevant. It is about how easily democracy is trampled when those in power decide that principles are nothing more than inconvenient obstacles on their way up. And that is where De Niro struck hardest. This was not just standard political backpedaling. This was Olympic-level, record-breaking, logic-defying flip-flopping. J.D. Vance did not simply change his stance. He performed a full ideological exorcism on himself. The man who once likened Trump to a certain historical dictator was now nodding along like a kid desperately trying to impress his new stepfather.
Stupid. Stupid. Silly.
It's not necessary?
No. It's just...
What changed? Not Trump. He is still the same, still spewing the same rhetoric, still setting records for the most criminal indictments per golf swing. The only thing that changed was Vance's hunger for power. Principles are great, until they start interfering with a Senate seat and a potential shot at something even bigger. And De Niro? He was not about to ignore this. Because at some point, it stops being about political survival and starts looking like a complete personality overhaul. Vance, once a self-declared champion of working-class America, now claps along like a planted audience member every time Trump so much as clears his throat. The same man who once warned that Trump was a danger to the country is now just hoping to be picked as his caddy for 2028. But the real irony? Vance is not even convincing. His transformation is anything but seamless. It is awkward, forced, and as unconvincing as a bad actor reading cue cards.
You really know when you're doing this because your adrenaline's going, you're trying not to say anything stupid. You don't actually know how it's going, really. Like, I felt pretty good about it, but my wife comes out at the very end, just sort of like this one final, segment for the TV cameras. Gwen Waltz comes up and my wife comes up, and I look at Usha's face, and I just knew. I was like, holy shit.
Nice.
We must have done a very good job, because Usha doesn't lie to me, and her face especially doesn't lie to me, and I knew that minute that we had a very...
And De Niro? He sees right through it. So does everyone else. Because nothing exposes a fraud faster than watching them struggle to believe their own performance. And that is the real danger, not just J.D. Vance's shaky moral compass, but what it signifies. For every Vance grinning through the humiliation of betraying his former self, there are countless others just like him, ready to trade whatever remains of their integrity for a place at the table. When politics becomes a contest of who can submit the most, democracy does not just take a back seat, it becomes the casualty. The moment politicians realize that standing firm requires true courage, they collapse like weak chairs under pressure. And when too many follow this pattern, democracy starts to fracture. Because democracy is not an unbreakable force. It does not function on autopilot. It only survives when people are ready to defend it. The moment leaders prioritize their own survival over principles, democracy weakens. It depends on those willing to challenge corruption, resist pressure, and stand for what is right. When that commitment disappears, democracy turns into a hollow concept, easily manipulated by those in power. Without constant effort, it fades, leaving behind nothing but an illusion of what it once was.